Good afternoon and welcome to St. Cloud Rotary, the best place to be at noon on a Tuesday. Why don't we all stand and we'll recite the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
All right, Lynn Carlson, do you have some songs?
I think we do. Let's sing number 26, R-O-T-A-R-Y. We all know that.
R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary. R-O-T-A-R-Y is known on land and sea. From north to south, from east to west, they profit most who serve the best. R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary. R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary. R-O-T-A-R-Y is one great family, where friendship finds for each one's good, where each one strives their best to give. R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary.
See, I made him get the book out. All right, number 3, America the Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesties, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea.
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for this nation, for our city. We pray especially today in remembrance of those who we thought of yesterday as well, those who served and gave their lives for our country. Pray especially for those wounded warriors that we see around us and know of, in our families, in our communities. Bless those families in a special way. Bless those soldiers in a special way, Lord. Thank you for this Rotary. Thank you for what you do for us. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
All right, have a seat. Thank you, Lynn. Lynn was performing double duty today as both songmaster and invocator. We appreciate that. Welcome to St. Cloud Rotary. As you can tell, I am not Jim Dwyer. President Jim is actually over in Ireland right now. I believe he's attending a graduation or something with his son over there, so he asked me to step in today. But it's my pleasure to be here and get a little bit of a practice run. You're gonna, unfortunately, hopefully this doesn't affect our membership numbers. We're going to be here for the next several months, I guess. But anyway, I welcome you today. I also want to just say a word to add to what Len was saying. You know, yesterday was Memorial Day, and I know the day has passed, but to those of you especially that have lost a family member in the service of our country, I want to extend my thanks and gratitude on behalf of the club and on behalf of all of us as Americans. We sometimes lose sight of the purpose of Memorial Day and look at it just as a day off from work, but truly the purpose of that day was to recognize those men and women that gave their lives and made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. And I'm sure there are people in this room that have lost siblings and parents and grandparents, perhaps even spouses. So our condolences and our appreciation to each of you. All right. Justin Wambach was our greeter this afternoon. Justin, do we have any visiting Rotarians with us today?
Yes, we do. We have Brad Vogt from
Hollywood, Florida. Brad, come on up.
He said I looked the same. It's always great to be back here. As some of you may know, of course, or don't, I was a past member of this club. I've now down in Florida. I was a member of the Hollywood Rotary Club for many years. Now a member of the Fort Lauderdale South Club. We meet at the Tower Club in Fort Lauderdale, and we've been down there the 25th floor overlooking the ocean, beautiful ocean. I joined the club. They made me the song leader for some reason. We're still working on America's Beautiful. We have about 20 members. They also made me the treasurer right away because nobody seems to want that job either. I'm also involved in the district down there. I'm the district grants coordinator. And last year we did 14 matching grants and about 15 simplified grants. We did several in the Dominican Republic. I know you've done them there. I talked to Drew in the past, and perhaps in the future we can do a joint district grant with you. Next week I'm going to Rotary International in Evanston to attend our zone conference to talk about the foundation and other activities there. It's always a pleasure again to be here with you. Thank you very much.
Put that on the wall. This is a banner presentation coming from Brad. Justin, were there any other visiting Rotarians? Okay, let's thank Justin for being our greeter today. Actually, Justin, I'll let you have a seat. We're going to hold off on the drawing until the end of the meeting so we can keep people here for the loot drawing. So you have to hold on to the bucket until the end. Before we introduce other guests, I just want to recognize that if you haven't noticed, our district governor, Chuck Berg, is visiting with us today. Let's recognize our district governor. Governor Berg will actually be speaking to us in a little while, but I just wanted to introduce him first. This is probably his last time speaking to us as district governor, so it's a privilege to have him up here with us today. What other guests do we have, or who else is visiting with us today? Yes, Sherry.
Yes, please help me to welcome Mike Lurdell. He's a student at St. Cloud State, majoring in public relations, and he's interning with Big Brothers Big Sisters this summer, looking for employment. Mike.
I assume we're all done with student guests, but do we have any other visiting guests here, or any other guests of Rotarians? All right. Okay, good. Welcome to Rotary. We have just a few announcements. Diane, I'm actually going to let you save your T-shirt announcement until the part of the program where she's going to be talking about summertime by Georgia in general. But John Bodette has a quick announcement.
I just want to talk to you about the program committee meeting. We have a meeting next Tuesday at 11 o'clock, right at the back table back there. The program committee is relatively painless, but the work that the committee does is absolutely integral to these meetings. Our goal is always to have a program that makes coming to Rotary and lunch worthwhile, and I think the committee's done a really good job of providing wonderful speakers on a variety of topics. So we encourage those of you who are looking for a way to do some service to join us. We only meet once a quarter. There's about 10 of us, and we could always use some new folks. I also would ask, too, that we're going to try to find a way to poll all the club members on suggestions for speakers. All of you in your professional lives and personal lives and families know a lot of people who make really good speakers. And you also, the longtime members, have the history of who's been here and who hasn't, so that's always helpful as well. So we would ask you to either join the committee or send us, we're going to try to do some sort of email to everybody in the club asking for suggestions and all that stuff. That would be fine. And then just finally, if it's okay, I would like the committee people to stand for a second and just get some applause from the group because they do a wonderful job. So come on, don't be tough, don't be timid. A quick heads up on our next meeting is going to be the Center for Economic Education from St. Cloud State. On the 12th will be the Minskew Chancellor, Stephen Rosenstone, will be here. And then we have the peaceful transition of power from one president to another, Jim to Drew, always a zany program. And then finally on the 26th, College of St. Benedict President Marianne Benninger will be here to speak. So, and I just found out when I came in today that we'll have a very special guest in August, someone we've been trying to get for a long time. So details to come. Thank you.
All right, thank you, John. And I want to thank both John and the rest of the committee too for agreeing to stay on and coordinate our programs in the next term as well. They've done a great job, and I look forward to the programs that they're going to bring to us in the coming year. Let's see, we have another announcement. I believe Raleigh Carlson has an announcement about the golf. You want to just do it from back there,
Stay
Raleigh?
back here.
Okay.
Monday, July 23rd, St. Cloud Country Club Rotary Golf Tournament. Weather forecast is high of 78. Slight breeze from the southwest. More information to come.
All right, thanks, Raleigh. Put it on your calendar. It's going to be a great time as always. All right, we've come to the time of the program. I'd like to introduce our District Governor, Chuck Berg. And so come on up here, Governor Berg. But in addition, I'd also like to ask the following people, if they're here, to come forward. Tim Wensman, Troy Fritz, Jerry Hirschfeld, also Dave Tripp, Mark Christensen, Diane Kroska, and Christy Gilman. Could all of you come forward? And as they're making their way forward, I want to, on behalf of our club, offer Governor Berg sort of an honorary membership in the Summertime by George festivities. So enjoy and wear that with pride.
Thank you, President Drew, or President-elect Drew. Earlier this year, I was sent an email from the President's Office of Rotary International asking me to submit a community service project that was of great significance. And I've had the opportunity to go around our district and look at a number of projects. And our district has a number of large community service projects, and we pour about $2 million worth of service into our local communities. That's above and beyond the over $1 million that we did in international projects this year. And after having seen all these projects, no project really stood above the Lake George and Summertime by George project. So early in May, I was notified by the President's office that that was one of the 150 projects selected by Rotary International for a Significant Achievement Award. I would like to read to you the letter from President Callion Banerjee of Rotary International. It is my honor to recognize the Rotary Club of St. Cloud with the RI Significant Achievement Award for 2011-2012. The Significant Achievement Award recognizes outstanding Rotary Club projects that address the needs of the local community. These exemplary service programs provide models for future activities and inspiration for other Rotary clubs. Your project represents the very best work in your district and the Rotary world. The efforts of the Rotary Club of St. Cloud guarantees that Rotary's tradition of dedicated service will long continue. I commend your club's efforts to meet the needs of your community. On behalf of Rotary International and Rotarians worldwide, I am thankful that your club has actively chosen to reach within to embrace humanity. Sincerely, Callion Banerjee. I'd like to present the Significant Achievement Award on behalf of Rotary International President Callion Banerjee.
And as you all know, the folks standing behind me are the ones that deserve the greatest congratulations for this. I'm accepting this award on behalf of the club, but as a club, let's thank these folks behind us again, not only for the development of Lake George and the revitalization of that, but now the ongoing project of the community of the Summertime by George. We really have left a legacy with their leadership, so let's give them a round of applause. We'll be hearing more about Summertime by George project here in just a little bit. But now, and actually, you know, I also meant, I mentioned it before, but I also do think that we ought to give one more round of applause to Governor Berg for his incredible vision and leadership during this year. We've had a great year as a district, and I just know how easy it is to run an organization if you have good leaders at the top. So let's give one more round of applause to Governor Berg. Today's program is a little bit of a hodgepodge, kind of a keep it moving, a little bit of a variety show up here today. So hopefully you won't get bored as we're going to move through a few different things. The next part of the project, I've been asked to give you sort of the highlights of my trip to the Rotary International Convention in Hong Kong, in Bangkok. But as I'm saying that, I'm also realizing that before I do that, I want to offer an opportunity to give happy bucks. So speaking of being hodgepodge and jumping around, the reason that it comes to mind is I want to prime the pump by offering a few happy bucks of my own. And then I'd invite anybody else that has some to come on forward. I'm going to, like I say, prime the pump with a check for $100. And that represents first some birthday bucks. I've got 47 birthday bucks coming up in a couple of weeks, and so that's for the foundation. The other 53 can be divided between. I'll give $3 for the unexpected opportunity to go to the Gophers football game this coming fall. That was kind of icing on the cake to a big day last week, and so I'll definitely give happy bucks. It would be more, except for the fact that I don't know if you know, but that game against Michigan happens to be on the deer hunting opener. So for those of us that partake in that tradition, I don't know, those tickets might be available, but no, I'll probably not the chance. So, the remainder of it, the $50, is really more of, it's happy bucks, but it's really thank you bucks. The opportunity to go to the Rotary International Convention was an opportunity of a lifetime. And for those of you that have been to one, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you that haven't, I would encourage you to go. It was absolutely one of the best experiences of my life, and I thank you guys for making that a possibility. I could not have gotten to that convention on the other side of the planet without your financial support, and I do appreciate that. So 50 happy bucks for that, and if anybody else has any happy bucks, come on up, Terry.
I'll stand from right here. I unfortunately dropped about a 400-pound piece of oak on my right foot, so it's kind of broken. First of all, it's a nice recognition from the Rotary International, but we are actually in national competition on that fountain, and we have not found out the results yet of our national competition. And finally, I am in the process of writing an article for Rotary International magazine on the project, so I'm hoping with some good connections we hopefully might get that published. Thank you.
I have a happy buck just because we have a member of the St. Cloud Police Force with us today who will be speaking in a little bit. And one of the things that has made the Summertime by George event so much fun for me and make me feel so good about the community is the role that the St. Cloud Police Department has played in working with Rotary to make Summertime by George a huge success. So, welcome.
$10. Every once in a while, the public gets to hear about the good things the government does. Thank you, John, for the front page Sunday article on the domestic violence court. We commonly hear about the bad things that happen in government, but it is worth $10. At least it's worth way more than that when you hear about the good news. Thank you.
I also have $10. Tonight my son graduates from Sauk Rapids, and I guess these are happy bucks and maybe a little bit of sad bucks as well, because the happy part of it is my wife and I, we're going to be moving to Alexandria. So we're going to live in our lake home, and we're going to be missing you because this will be probably one of the last meetings to be in. So, but thank you.
Acting President Drew, couple happy bucks. Thanks, Mr. Frobenius, for putting together last week's program. What a delightful day to come in and have Coach Kill up here and part of the University of Minnesota contingent. So thank you very much for doing that last week.
For those of you that know me well, you know that I'm actively involved in the Phi Kappa Tau fraternity at St. Cloud State. Was an undergraduate member there, a fraternity that Jerry Hirschfeld actually helped found back in the 60s. And I'm just excited to say that one of our student leaders, Mike Lerdahl, has actually joined Sherry for the summer. And there's a great example of just an incredible student leader, somebody that I'm sure hopefully in the future we'll see either in this club or another club as Rotarian. So congratulations, Mike.
I have 5 happy bucks. My son Stephen graduated from Cathedral Friday, culminating a week-long celebration with the concert choir, baccalaureate mass. We had a prayer meeting, breakfast meeting. The awards program was a wonderful 6 years at John the 23rd and Cathedral. Stephen had a terrific experience there, as did Jamie and I. Also, we had a graduation party at the St. Cloud Country Club on Sunday from 4 until 8, and about 5:30, one of the staff came up to Jamie and said, we're running out of food that we budgeted for. She said, we'll have to make more. They responded flawlessly. Poor Tom was sitting there grilling burgers and brats in the smoke and the wind for I don't know how long, but thanks to Tom, Raleigh, and the staff at the Country Club for a great day.
Hearing about all these graduations, I had to come up and say that next week my granddaughter graduates from preschool. Her name is Kyla.
I'm sure that will bring many more happy bucks in the future. I look forward to each and every event that occurs in the rest of my life. Schlecter's comment cannot go without some further comments, and actually hearing the discussion about the performance of the Country Club. I've got a couple of happy bucks also related to the Jerry Kill visit last week. And one of them is for maybe a potential joint venture between the Country Club and the Radissons, or excuse me, and Chris's group, whatever we call it. But they did another wonderful job for us. We had the foggiest idea how many people were going to show up at our meeting last week. And Chris's staff person kept asking for, can you give us a little rough idea? And said, well, they hit it right in the nose, and they did it absolutely perfectly. And it was really great. Thank you so much for that. The rest of these happy bucks are for Wayne and his two colleagues that assist in coaching the high schools. We came up with the thought of inviting the high school coaches here about 3 or 4 days before the event. And I got to tell you that made sort of a great hit. Wayne organized that, put that together. It made a great impression on Jerry Kill. And a number of his comment afterwards was, the neat thing about it, those guys compete against each other all the time. They're just good buddies. They never sit around chatting with each other. So anyway, thank you for all the support that we've given.
Now let's make this it. I think we want to keep moving on. Go ahead, Bob.
Sure. Yeah. Please, so close. I have 8 happy bucks for the 8 folks that were with me who, not last weekend, but the weekend before, did a Tough Mudder. I don't know if anybody is familiar with the event. Clearly, I was not until I got there. The Tough Mudder is an 11.5-mile steeplechase, basically through a bunch of obstacles, over a bunch of obstacles, mud and so forth, that my son talked me into 6 months ago, which, you know, indicates to you that you'll do just about anything if you don't know what's going on. Anyway, it was for the Wounded Warrior Project, and the Tough Mudder organization is fascinating. The event is one that was put together as a business plan and submitted to the Harvard Business School, and they told them it would never work. These guys have 11,000 people in just Minneapolis who spend about $100 a piece to do this to themselves. And they do about 30 of these across the United States and in Australia, and I think they do one in Europe. So it's a phenomenal event. I wouldn't recommend it. I will tell you, I think I was the only 60-plus-year-old guy that I saw out there. But it was very interesting, a lot of teamwork. It's not a race, it's a challenge. And if you'd like to sign up for next year, contact my son.
What Bob didn't mention, I saw the clip on it. It's not only tough mud, there are electrical wires that they are falling under while they're in the mud. It's a tough.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Did you get any shocks, Bob, when you're crawling underneath there at all? Or
I got one in the back. It really kind of got your attention.
Well, we all thought you were smarter than that, though.
So did Bob's man.
Before I get started, I also want to thank Dave Tripp for scrambling at the last minute and getting a laptop in here. This is kind of what happens when you pull things together, but I appreciate that, Dave. He had somebody run that over, and we should be able to get up and running here pretty soon. I can see on my screen here, so it should be coming soon. All right. Well, the thumbs up when you see a screen up there, something different than this. Again, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to go to Bangkok. The International Convention of Rotary was held in Bangkok this year from May 6th through the 9th. There were over 35,000, is what I was told, Rotarians, that people that gathered at this event. And if you can imagine that, I mean, it'd be like taking the entire Twin Stadium and calling all of those folks guests at a Rotary convention, and it was just a fabulous experience. Hopefully we're going to be seeing some slides here real soon. I've limited it to about 10 slides, so I'll be able to get through this really quick. I was told 5 to 10 minutes, so that's what I'm shooting for.
How's your drawing?
How's my drawing? You want me to like sketch up on the picture? Well, what we're waiting for at first is a slide. Maybe we can all start by practicing the traditional greeting in Thailand, which is you stand and you hold your hands together and you say Sawadee. And everybody says it everywhere. And this land is called the Land of 1,000 Smiles. And truly, it's I don't think I ever saw anybody frown. Everyone was so gracious, and if anything, most of the businesses were overemployed because you couldn't stand inside a business for more than a few seconds before somebody came to wait on you. And everyone was just so friendly and always greeted you that way. So.
Drew, how long did it take you?
Yeah, I'll do questions first. Yeah, thanks. All right, go ahead, Jerry. What's the question?
How long did it take you to get there? How long was your flight?
Yeah, the flight, we flew through Hong Kong, and so we flew from Minneapolis to Chicago, you know, the distance for that. Then from Chicago to Hong Kong was about 15 hours. Yeah. And then from Hong Kong to Bangkok, it was about another 2.5, something like that. And then my wife and I just, you know, like the elephant picture that you may have seen on the website, that wasn't in Bangkok. We kind of figured that as long as we're on that part of the planet, we're probably never going to get over there again. We might as well extend this trip a little bit. So we actually went to an island called Phuket. I don't know if any of you have heard of it, but it's quite a spectacular place. And that was where the elephant was. Anyway, it's about another hour flight from Bangkok to Phuket. So we spent about 5 days there, and then flew back to Bangkok, and then spent 2 nights in Hong Kong, and then came home. So we were gone for a total of 12 days. But the convention itself was from, basically the main part of the convention was from Sunday until Wednesday. So we were there for that whole thing. But I'll throw out just a few more statistics. They're going to be on the first slide, hopefully. They're just, you can't see it. I can turn this to the slide. No, yeah, no, that's not my slide. We're playing checkers, but yeah, there were, like I say, around 35,000 people that attended from over 160 countries, if you can imagine. And I guess now there are about 200 countries that have Rotary clubs in them. So when we hear the kind of membership that we do, and I don't even want to guess what it is, but it's in the tens of thousands of Rotarians, but they're spread out across the planet. And it's just amazing how big Rotary is, and that was one of my impressions. And truly, my presentation is most valuable with the slides because it's not. I can sit up here and wing it, but you don't want to look at me, and I apologize for this, but we could actually start with some of the summertime and George stuff, but this isn't. It's not up there. Should we go ahead and?
Yeah. More time.
Yeah, let's do that because we have a little bit of time. If you'll save like 10 minutes for me at the end, I should be able to get through this pretty quickly. But the thing is, Diane has a PowerPoint also, so. Chris is going to need to, but maybe she can start with hers. Is Diane, or are you going to start with hers?
No, she and Dave should be right on.
Talk amongst yourselves. No, I'll take other questions. Any other questions about there she is, Diane? Do you want to actually start with your part of the program? We're having technical difficulties here.
Do we have a slideshow?
We do not.
We do not. Oh, good.
Do you want to make any announcements or anything while we're waiting for our slideshow?
Oh, yeah. How about my flash drive? That doesn't work.
No, it's not. I don't think it's an issue with flash drive because we can see it on the laptop here. It's just not making it up to the screen.
The idea of Dave tripped out his flash drive.
We have the club's projector, and we have Dave's laptop, and we have somebody else's flash drive. We should ask Governor Burke to help us with this. I know he's the technical expert. A couple more.
You know, we can say a few things. Come on, Dave. Okay, first of all, we will be doing t-shirts again after lunch is over today, so if you still have to pick yours up, we'll be there. Volunteers, I got quite a few today. I'd say that there's less than 10 people that I haven't heard from, so thank you all very much. And if I haven't heard from you, you're going to hear from me again.
And that's not right? It's the projector. So he's going to get a different projector. So let you get your slides up.
Okay, one of the things that I don't need a slide to go over, although it is on one of the slides, is to go through the schedule of events and the bands. And this year we have something new. You know, the vendors start at 5, the band starts at 6:30, and the idea was among our fearless leaders that it'd be nice to have something that happened in between. And so what we have is special events, that's what we're calling it. And thanks to Dan, there's actually a click on the website that you just click on events and it's listed. The special events are going to be generally from 5:15 to 6:15, and it's a variety of different entertainment kinds of things. So on week 1, which is June 13th, the band is the Revolution 5, which is a Beatles tribute band. And the special events is going to be the Pantowners. So the Pantown cars will be located down at Lake George, and you'll be able to view those. The second week at Monroe Crossing is the band, and they are classical bluegrass, gospel, and heartfelt originals. And we're going to have the Cracker Jacks Juniors. So the young kids that do all the drumming and the fancy kinds of activities with that. The third week, which is the Can-Am Games, we're going to have the Killer Haystacks, which for the band, which is a finest pop country band or a country rock band. And we're going to have the St. Cloud Fire and Police Pipes and Drums. So there actually is a group from St. Cloud that does the bagpipes and drums, and they're going to be performing that evening from 5:15 to 6:15. On the fourth night, we have Slip Twister, which is July 4th, and that night it's going to be earlier time frame. Help me with the time frame on the 4th. I think it's from like 4 to 8, somewhere in there. And the band will be a little bit moved up so that people can go to the fireworks. And we're going to have a petting zoo. The Hemkers Petting Zoo from Albany is going to be there. And if you saw in the paper a couple of weeks ago, they have some new laughing dogs? Singing dogs. I'm not sure the singing dogs will be there, but we'll have a petting zoo there for the activity. Week 5 is the Johnny Home Band, which I think anybody who is certainly my age, or I mean, everybody's heard of Johnny Home, probably all been at a rock and roll kind of concert. And the special event is actually going to be Nathan's Old Time Band. So kind of a mix of different genres there as far as music. On week 6, July 18th, there's going to be Collective Unconscious for the band, which is a Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young tribute band. For those of us that remember all of those great songs. And the special event is going to be a group called the Hot Rod Hoodlums, which is actually classic cars. And they'll be on display for people to look at. I don't think to touch or sit inside, but to look at. On the 7th week, July 25th, it's the Transit Authority, which is a Chicago tribute band with horns and such, 8-piece band. And we're going to have another musical group called Jazz.Combo. And so it'll be a jazz kind of group that will be playing along with that. Week 8, going into August now, the band is Bella Diva, which has a wide variety of music, including pop, R&B, disco, rock, country, and jazz. Quite a variety. And our group that will be doing the special events is the St. Cloud School of Dance and Gymnastics. So they'll be doing different performances for us. August 8th is the week 9, that's the Kurt Jorgensen Band. Their website says they play blues to gospel to Americana rock. And we will that day be having our arts festival, which will be kind of like the Lemonade Fair that is at St. Cloud State at the end of June. And that will be an event that will be all day long. Cindy Hawker has been coordinating that. We actually have a $5,000 grant that we received in order to coordinate that arts festival. On August 15th, the band is Diamondback, which I think most of us are familiar with. And that evening, we're going to have for special events the Great Theater
is going to be presenting songs from Hairspray, which is their upcoming act that will be in a couple of weeks after that time. Week 11, the second to last night, will be Divina and the Vagabonds. And they say that they do New Orleans jazz, blues, soul, and swing into a mix that's been called a musical time machine. Interesting. And we will actually, again, on that evening, we will have Jazz.combo back. And the last evening, we'll have the Fabulous Armadillos, which I think all of us are familiar with. And the special event that night will be a group. There are actually a number of groups from Music Mentors. It's a gentleman that does education with younger kids, and they will have a bunch of different ensembles. Once he mentioned that this was a possibility, they all want to perform. So they're actually going to start performing about 4:30 as we're doing setup. So we will be serenaded as that happens. The other thing that's going to happen on that last night is what I have on your tables, this Memorial Butterfly release. It actually is an event that Quiet Oaks Hospice House is coordinating, but it will be kind of, it'll take place actually just before the band starts back at the pavilion. And if you have an opportunity to have your own Memorial Butterfly, you do need to order it by July 15th, because they actually put them into cocoons or whatever they do to get the butterfly to be out by August 29th. And there's a cost to that. It's a $20 cost, but it's a memorial that you can release that butterfly all at the same time. It'll be a nice, I would envision, a picturesque kind of event that will be occurring just before the Fabulous Armadillo starts to play. So that's what's happening with entertainment as far as special events and the musical bands. Troy Fritz coordinated, I think, the group that got together the number of bands, and I thank him for that. And that's what's going on for entertainment.
The 2012 committee chairs, these guys do so much work before the first night. They have been getting their own small groups together. Troy with the, well, let me go through them. Eastman Tavern, Jackie Bach. I don't think Jackie is here. If you see Jackie, or maybe you want to send her an email, she has had a lot of difficulties taking care of Eastman Tavern this year. Nothing to do with our wonderful Mark Soldner and Coca-Cola, more on the wine side. So she really deserves lots of kudos, lots of thanks for putting up with everything she has. Middletown Market, Peg Gustafson and Jerry McCarter and Ed Meyer are taking care of Middletown Market. Little Georgetown this year is Greg Jake, and he's brought some really great new ideas to that area. Chris Davis is taking care of the financial end of it for us. Troy Fritz led the group for choosing the bands and doing all the contracts with them. Renee Sternke, as she just said, is doing special events. Dave Tripp is in charge of sponsorships. I do volunteers and whatever else that no one else will do. Dan Soldner. Dan Soldner does the advertising. If you haven't checked out the website lately, make sure you check it out. He's done some really nice upgrades in that area. Our weekly coordinators this year again will be Bill Maney, Lee Monk, and Gary Marsden. And then the executive committee is David, myself, and Christy Gilliland. So give them all a really big round.
I like the analogy, horse and cart, cart before horse or whatever, but there's two analogies I'd like to make. For one thing, if it hadn't been for Jerry, Troy, and Tim, and the club, and our corporate sponsors to actually finish that park, that's the horse. We wouldn't have thought about what do you do with the park afterwards. So thank you for you guys to spearhead the park. Then came the cart, and as far as that, the festival, you know, it's the club members. I mean, the unbelievable amount of volunteer hours and excitement that this club gave last year, and then said that they're willing to do it again this year, is why Summertime by George is as successful as it is. But we wouldn't have been able to do that as a club if it hadn't been for our members and the sponsors here that have put up some substantial dollars in regards to the weekly music events and other miscellaneous. So Times Media, starting out first night, I think this is in order. We have a special anonymous sponsor for the Rotary Club, Bremer Bank, Viking Coca-Cola, U.S. Bank, Great Plant Moody, Schlenner, Winter and Company, Lockman Jewelers, Reiki Noonan Law Firm, RBC Wealth Management, Brett Gillen and Chevrolet, Wells Fargo. Then we've got another whole list of very valuable sponsors. We have our trolley, MCI Carpet One, and Little Georgetown Central Minnesota Community Foundation throughout the entire summer with the activities and the expenses that brings. Eastman Tavern, Marv Soldner came with a marvelous proposal that will benefit the club and the community for years in sponsoring Eastman Tavern with Coors. The Tea Club sponsorships, College St. Benedict, St. John's University, William Hughes Attorney. Golden Pump, kind of at the last minute, threw us an interesting proposal you can't say no to. They're going to sign and sponsor well, sign the Middletown Market for us, because that really kind of lacked signage identity. And then we have our club sponsors, Wayne, Schlechter Investments, Bill, St. Cloud Federal Credit Union, Century Care Health System, and Layton Broadcasting in kind. You don't realize the amount of radio in kind and staff in kind that Layton Broadcasting stations are doing and have done for this festival. So they are definitely to be thanked enormously. I'm going to run through this, not run through it because Renee already did it.
Talking about the Tea Club sponsors, we are not selling any T-shirts this year, which I think will make a lot of you happy. Instead, what we did was a couple of companies stepped forward and said that they would sponsor T-shirts. So we purchased 200 T-shirts, and each of the first 4 nights, depending on the weather, 4 or 5 nights, we will be giving away free T-shirts to the crowd there. We'll have a couple hundred T-shirts, so each night we'll give away about 50 T-shirts and throw them out. So that's what the Tea Club sponsor is this year, since they are new. And now I'd like to have Dan McClure come up. Many of you, most of you who worked there last year will remember Dan McClure. He was there almost every night. I think he had a short break when his wife had a baby in July.
Only missed one.
Only missed that one. And so he's got some information for us.
All right, thank you very much. Like Diane said, thank you very much for inviting me here today. Dan McClure, the Police Department here in St. Cloud, and a special unit, the Community Crime Impact Team. I'm one of 2 officers on that team, along with our Sergeant of Oxygen. So, pleasure to be here today, and I'm very honored to be here at this meeting. A couple things just to talk very briefly about. The first thing is on lost children. Last year we had several cases of lost children in the park during the 13-week event. You know, if you spread out the number over the 13 weeks, really wasn't that large of a number at all. But our response as a police department, we get the information out right away to all of our officers that are in the park via the radio. It goes also with lost parents too. We've had a couple lost parents where their child will actually come find a police officer and give a description of the mom or dad. So, you know, we encourage both ways, both lost juveniles and parents too that might be a little lost as well. But that's what we do. We get the information out right away to our officers that are on scene at the park, whether it's our school resource officers with the YMCA doing their activities, whether it's us in the booth, whatever the case might be. And so we're out there. We'll also send out the information to our area cars that may not be part of the special detail, but we'll get that information out as far as you know, the age of the child, height, weight, race, clothing description, all that information. That gets sent out right away. As volunteers, what you can do to help us as well is just to, you know, if someone approaches you, a parent, child, looking for someone that, you know, they're trying to get reunited with, get as much information as you can from them, but get them to us right away so we can get that information aired out over the radio, so we can get units in response to that area. So hopefully that clears mud.
Dan, are you going to be in the same place, same location?
I'm not sure. You know, I think that's something still to be determined between all of us.
us and where that location will be. And I know last year was the checkered tent, and if it's the same this year coming up.
Actually, we have a new tent. There will be a public safety tent right next to the pop sales. There, you guys will be staffing it, and there'll be a sign there.
Excellent. Thank you, yes.
I just want to say, last year I was there when there was a lost child, and I was so impressed with how the police officers handled it. A distraught kid, they placed him up on the vehicle he had, gave him a sticky badge, and had him smiling, and they really did an outstanding job with it.
Thank you. And really, it is a partnership with all of us here. You know, that we can work together, and really the lost children that we had throughout the event, which was again very few, we were able to reunite parents very quickly. So again, thank you for all the help with that. And second point, just need to talk very briefly about is how to handle money. Obviously, a lot of money comes into the event, whether it's ticket sales or whether it's the beer garden. And just a couple things to keep in mind: just keeping money safe. You know, out of sight, out of mind is kind of the motto, I guess. Just keeping it out of the reach of other people. If you need an escort to your vehicle, if you need to make a couple drops throughout the events, please give us a call. Let us know. Yeah, just need a walk over to my car so I can drop, you know, money or whatever the case may be. We'd be glad to do that for you. Also recommend if you're able to drop money off-site, whether it's you know, somewhere secure. Maybe recommend to do that as well, but you know, obviously the event is very busy, and it's important for all of us to be there, so that might not be possible. So, but just keeping that out of sight, out of mind, and maybe keeping it in the lock box. And that's really all I can say about that. So, thank you again for letting me be here today and talking to all of you, and see you in a couple weeks.
We were very remiss. We have another committee that the committee chair did not get recognition, and Christy Gilliland is the chair of our porta potty committee.
Very important.
Very important.
Mark gets all the credit. Mark gets all the credit.
Right, this year's raffle will be 2012 Chevy Equinox or $20,000 cash. Tickets should be here next week. Each Rotarian is asked to sell a minimum of 30 tickets. This year there will be $200 given to the member who sells the most tickets and $50 to them if a member sells the winning ticket. You are able to bring your tickets to the park to sell. If you run into family and friends, but at the raffle booth, club tickets only will be sold. Okay. Now we were very remiss last year. 1,000 apologies to last year's winner of the most tickets sold, Gary Marsden. Sold, I think, 340 some tickets.
I lost count.
A ton. So he is now being recognized and given his cash reward for that. To wrap up, water is going to be free all summer for volunteers. Sorry, that does not include beer or pop, but water will be free all year. The sign-up sheet and vests are going to be in the same area. There will be no extra scheduled this year. I'm really streamlining the volunteers, so there's not going to be an extra person there. So if you are not able to make your time, be sure you get a substitute, please, because that will leave us really short-handed. Everyone that is scheduled to work until closing, please stay and help clean up. If everyone stays and helps pick up, it's a 10-15 minute job. But if everybody takes off and 2 or 3 of us do it, it's a 45-minute job, and that makes a big difference. So if you please stay.
Diane, question quick. If we're wearing the orange t-shirts that we volunteer, do we have to wear those hot vests?
When it's hot out, no. But the police still like us to wear those vests, so if the weather permits, yes. Okay, a couple things new in 2012. We'll be ordering ice cream through Schwann's. There's going to be the public safety booth we just talked about. New storage area, which is right behind the brick building, right behind where our checkered tent was last year. Yes. We're going to have pop-shaped recycle bins, thanks to Acosa and the St. Cloud Lions. And you guys are really going to love this. No more heavy wood picnic tables. Yeah. And you notice it's only guys that say that because there is not, I don't think there's a woman here who can help pick those up because I can do quite a bit, but not those. Anyway, we picked up 10 folding picnic tables this year, so they'll be much, much nicer and easier.
Diane, question. Are the orange t-shirts only for volunteers? The ones you throw out will be at other colors?
They're going to be gray, the ones that are being thrown out, yes.
I just want to take a moment to thank the Summertime by George Committee again. What a great job they've done this year. And also extend my congratulations again to Gary. I know that we were remiss in not getting that recognition to him last year, and truly it's significant. I mean, we're going to expect everybody in here, and we're going to hope everybody in here is really committed to selling tickets this year. And one of the best ways to do that is to give you an incentive to do it. Hopefully you'll also be motivated by the great things we're going to do with that money we're going to raise. But it's always nice to get a little bit of cash too. So $200 to the person that sells the most tickets this year. All right, without further ado, and I'm going to make this quick like that. All right, this was the official emblem or slogan or placard or whatever for the convention. Some of these pictures are a little bit blurry because they're taken from a long ways away. I've never been inside of a convention center as big as this one, but just a couple of highlights. I hit some of those already as far as the numbers. You know, some of the speakers. That slide up at the top. It's really tough to see what you're looking at, but that's me sitting about halfway back in a room, probably over 12,000 people, looking at 2 ground level monitors on the bottom and a high level monitor of the Princess of Thailand speaking to us, which was pretty cool. And the Nobel Peace Prize winner was there, representatives from the United Nations and from the World Health Organization. I mean, it was incredible. All right, and then they figured they should entertain us as well, so we heard and saw from local dance troops, a Grammy-winning artist from Africa, as well as 3 tenors from Bulgaria. Who, if you're interested, I've got the video on my or some of it on my iPhone, and they were all quite talented. We celebrated 2 big milestones in the fight against polio. Polio is one of those things that may be out of sight, out of mind for those of us in America, but I can tell you, especially after being here, it's not out of sight or out of mind in the rest of the world. There was a strong contingent there from India, and one of the biggest roars went up when the announcement was made that India is now polio free, and that is a huge accomplishment. The other big milestone that was celebrated was the meeting of the grant that was proposed by Bill and Melanie Gates Foundation. The Rotarians met the challenge and raised more than $200 million, and the Gates Foundation put up $355 million. And that's real money. And then to give you an idea of how that's respected in the rest of the world and among NGOs in the world, Bruce Alward, I think is the way you pronounce his name, is the Assistant Director General for Polio Emergencies and Country Collaboration for the World Health Organization. Look what he said. India's removal from the polio endemic list is perhaps the most important milestone ever on the long road to eradication. It's a magnificent achievement, and it's a Rotary achievement. This is the World Health Organization recognizing us for what we as an organization did to eradicate and have done to eradicate polio. But then you can read the challenge that's below that too. I won't read it all to you, but you know the fight isn't over, and new cases do come up. And so we are actually, I put the little note at the bottom, what is St. Cloud Rotary going to do? One of the things I would like to do, and there'll be more to follow on this, but I'd like to actually put a equivalent of a tip jar at our stand this year where we're going to be selling beverages and give people an opportunity to just pitch in. And we're going to do a little bit of promotion of End Polio Now during the event as well. People in this country are not aware that this is still a worldwide problem, and we need to help make them aware. Again, just great opportunities. I can tell you the story about this one if I had more time, but I got to meet the incoming president, Tanaka, and that was a nice honor. And I got to hand it to the guy. He didn't start speaking English until just recently, but he's doing well, and he's from Japan, and just a real neat guy, real inspirational speaker. And then, yeah, I'll just kind of flip through some of these. So interesting to see I wish I had some of my videos I could show you of the different ways people dressed from the different countries that we met, and it was quite amazing, I guess. There you can see my wife with couple from Africa, and they were just dressed in their native wear. And then we did have time for a little bit of touring. I got back and I counted my slides. I took 1,500 pictures. So trust me, if you think this is a long slideshow, I can show them all. We'll be here for a couple of days. My favorite one, by the way, is in the bottom right with those smiling monks. I don't know if you can see that. My final and lasting impressions, just to summarize, tell you what, Rotary is a much bigger organization than I had previously understood. And membership in Rotary is both prestigious and considered an honor in the rest of the world. The membership in this organization is around the world, you know, the best and the brightest. It's the real movers and shakers around the world, and you can tell when you sit down and have lunch with some of these folks that they are highly respected in their communities. The impact and mission of Rotary is highly respected by other leaders, governments, and non-governmental organizations around the world. Rotary is first and foremost a service organization with many varied opportunities to serve. Rotarians also know how to have fun and enjoy fellowship. We had a good time there. And we should all be proud to be Rotarians. And the last thing I wrote was, I would love to go to another RI convention. Well, Steve isn't here, he'll get to go next year, but it is an incredible opportunity. So, Sawasdee, thank you. Sincerely, I feel like I've got the next year to try to make up to you for the opportunity that you gave to me to go to this convention. It was truly a trip of a lifetime, an experience of a lifetime. I hope it'll make me a better president. I know it'll make me a better Rotarian. And who's our winner? We'll draw that first, and then if we have a minute or two for questions, I'll be glad to take them.
777-274. 274.
274 still here. 274. No way. Draw another one. It's fine. 5 or 274. Draw a different one.
Oh,
I won
one
a few weeks ago.
Okay. What about 280? Hey, there you go.
All right.
All right.
Congratulations. Any questions, Jerry?
Were Bill and Melinda there?
They were not, but Bill did speak via, was it a satellite connection or was it videotaped? I don't know if he spoke at one of the hearings. It was videotaped, but it was a new message. It wasn't the same as last year. And, again, congratulating all of us as Rotarians. I'm going to be real punctual with our meetings, so I don't want to keep you over. But if you have other questions, come on up. Otherwise, thanks again, and thanks for putting up with our technical glitches.
Ding! Right?
There we go. There we go. And Mark from the Secretary of Responsibility.